The Hall of Fame actually started with our mayor, Mick Cornett, back in 1986, and that was his idea to have a sports Hall of Fame. And he got together with a bunch of media people and organized it and held a banquet and started out with inducting. I think the first year was 6 of them: Jim Thorpe, Allie Reynolds, and some of those guys. But, Mickey Mantle was one of those first. And then that's where it started. And the second year, Mick, of course, asked me to help him with the banquet, and that's where it all began, right there. And of course, Mick had portraits done of the Hall of Famers, and there in the beginning, of course, they were in his closet at home, so that's where they were stored. But over the years, we had brought them out of the closet and put them in more visible places, until finally they ended up here in this museum. So we wanted to create something that would be a source of pride and inspiration, and we looked at the Will Rogers Museum was an inspiration, and as we got into the Thorpe, Jim Thorpe history and the heritage of sports in Oklahoma, it just seemed logical that would be a really good way to do it, to concentrate on promoting those things, because they're so much a part of our heritage. They're part of our culture, our language, our economics, and for Oklahoma not to have something that would recognize that heritage, to me, was almost criminal. So in the beginning, there was, let's face it, we started with nothing. I mean, absolutely no money, the office was my living room of my home. So there was, all this was, start from scratch, and it's been built by, the people of Oklahoma. In the process of going and asking for these things and visiting museums around the country and studying on it, till we found out what was appealing, what other museums had done, and wanting to do better than they did. Yeah. So we've started collecting items and collecting archives, scrapbooks, anything that these Hall of Famers would let us have for display or to preserve the history of the sports heritage. Well, there's so many special things and special people involved, and that's one thing it's not so much about the items. The items tell the story, but it's really the story of people. And you take people like Bertha Teague. Bertha Teague was one of the greatest basketball coaches in this country, had more wins than any other coach, and was very prominent on a national basis with the development of girls' high school basketball. She never played basketball. Ed Gallagher, same thing, an engineer who became one of the fathers of modern wrestling. He taught wrestling on the basis of weights and leverages and angles, this sort of thing. He never wrestled. These people, Allie Reynolds, Abe Lemons, two of the greatest guys who are not just great people, not just from a sports standpoint, but great people who contributed so much to this state. And frankly, those two guys were a tremendous inspiration to me. They worked with us on the beginning of this thing. They helped develop it. And probably my biggest regret is that we didn't get this finished before they died. We bought the building, and over the years, we took it from that standpoint. It started out we were going to have to spend a couple $1 million to kind of revamp that building and use it for the museum. But as we got into it and found out that you had the code requirements and first one thing and another, well, to develop what you see here today, it's taken not $2 million, but closer to $9 million. And we've raised $6 million of that. We still got another 3 to go, but basically we've totally rebuilt the building. The only thing original is the shell. All the mechanics are brand new, the electronics, the technology, the casework. Everything you see here is brand new, state-of-the-art, up-to-date. There's not a museum in the country, not a Sports Hall of Fame museum in the country that has more up-to-date, state-of-the-art, or better looking than this one. You look at Oklahoma sports heritage, it's second to none. Jim Thorpe, the greatest all-around athlete in history. Mickey Mantle, Henry Iba, Bud Wilkinson. The names that you see here are nationally and internationally recognized. These people have accomplished things that nobody else has done. They're Oklahoma people. It's not, you know, we wanted to show that things that Oklahoma could stand up to anybody. The heritage of this state, the sports heritage that is second to none. And it's only proper and appropriate that this museum reflect that heritage, and that's what we tried to do.